Okay? Venus color is green. What color is your Quran?
Green.
Green. Right? Because Muhammad's daughter was Fatima, but her name, other name, as we talked about earlier, was Zahra, which is the Arabic word for Venus. Then in the book that we're going to put out, it's got Venus in there, in the Quran, and spelled backwards. And it's got, it's like 243 words from the next time Venus is in there, where Venus's rotation is 243. It takes 243 days for Venus to make a year around the sun. So it's nothing but an astrology book as well. You follow what I'm saying? But so as you're learning these things, then you start to understand that, okay, Venus's day is Friday. What's Juma? That's the Muslim holy day. It's Friday. You know what I mean? Isis, Islam, the way of Isis, Islam. Right. You know what I mean? Right. It's all that. Right. You know what I mean? Allah is a feminine deity. Right. You know what I mean? They don't want to admit that, but it is. You see? So once you start to learn those type things, then you start to look at the Quran as the same thing. You know, because you know Muhammad had supposedly, Ishmael had 12 sons and then one daughter. You know what I mean? So the same thing like Jacob had 12 sons and one daughter. Right. You know what I mean? It's all the same shit. You know what I mean? So you're like, okay, it's the same stuff. So once you learn astrology, then you start to overstand it. Like in your brain, you got your 12 cranial nerves, representing, each one representing a tribe. Right. You know what I mean? So once I okay, well, this is the shit that they use a rule, because if I got your name, if I got your birthday, then I can get your characteristics of who you are. Right. So anytime you go and fill out a job application, credit card application, any type of application, what does it ask you? Your full name, your date of birth. Wow. So anybody, right. So if I want to find out, okay, would this person be a good fit for my job or for my daughter or whatever, if I get that information, I run the numbers, okay, his characters are this, and this. You follow what I'm saying? This is the shit that they use to rule over us, but we've been taught that it's evil. It's coming back around now, but just think about it. Every time you fill out anything, they ask for your birthday and your social security, not your social security, and your full name. And if you study numerology, you know that'll give you the life number, the soul number, the personality number, you know what I'm saying, and all of it. You get all your characteristics right there. Or if you can use the birthday and use the zodiac doing the natal chart. But if you don't want to do it, you want to do the numerology, you got that information, so they can rule using that information. But we've been pulled away from that information because that's European shit, or that's demon shit, or that's devilish shit. Right. No, that was our shit, because 144,000 equals 9. 666 equals 9. You know what I mean? The dimension of Solomon's temple with the 2 pillars equals 9. Because it's 18 by 12, which is 2,160, which is 9. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. It keeps coming up. Right. So you have to know these things. Right. You look at, remember when I was telling you about Eve being the snake charmer? Right. Right? Well, you've seen the symbol of the Ouroboros, which is the snake with the tail in his mouth, that represents the Milky Way, but it always is a snake, right? That's pi. Because, pi, to get a diameter of a circle, you need the circle, and you get pi. Pi is 3.14, right? Read Genesis 3.14. It talks about Eve getting ready to talk to the snake. That's right. Read John 3.14. It talks about Moses picking up a snake. Snake handler, snake charmer. Same thing. It's giving you this shit that's in there that you're missing. And then, we talked about the spiral of creation and the golden mean. The golden mean is 1.1618. Right? Read Mark 1618 or 1618 and you get what? The same story of somebody talking and picking up a snake. It's just replete. It's got numerology all in it. Right. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't know numerology, you're going to miss that. Right. You're going to miss that when Jesus was out fishing with Peter them, and they didn't catch nothing, and Jesus said, throw it over again over to the right side. And they caught 153 fish. Well, what's 1 plus 5 plus 3? And what is that? That is you heard of the Vesica Pisces? No. That's a you've seen the symbol though. It's the symbol that's on the back of Christians called a fish symbol.
Okay. Yeah.
That right there.
Okay, yeah.
If you take the measurement of that, it's 153.9. I mean 153. You know what I mean? So they're giving you all of this science because the Vesica Pisces is two circles that intersect at their diameters or at their radiuses or something.
Right.
And it creates that little yoni, you know, that they use, and that's why Pop used to do this, and Cats was doing this and didn't even realize.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
This is the Vesica Pisces. This is the womb.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Cats walk around doing this. Had no idea what Pop was doing.
Star symbol too.
Right. Yeah, it sure is. It sure is. So you see what I'm saying though? It's all of that science was there, and he was giving us this science. You know what I mean? Because he taught us numerology. Cats don't want to look at that, but when you look at what they call in Arabic and Hebrew abjad, that's numerology because it's giving you a numerical value to a letter.
Right.
So when he gave us VISA is 666,
right,
we like, oh, see, that's the mark of the beast.
Right.
You know, it really ain't.
Right.
But you see what I'm saying, though?
Right.
It's the sciences that they was giving up that we don't even realize because the white boys, what we don't want to acknowledge is that the white boys that was giving up the real doctrine was persecuted by the church too.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? They was getting killed by the church because the church wanted to suppress everything.
Right.
So they had to go underground and rewrite shit and code it so they could still educate those people that wanted to be educated without the church knowing what was going on.
Right.
So this is how you start to get all of this different stuff in there with these numbers and then with these symbols and et cetera. Like, again, the Greek alphabet has 7 vowels. Right? 7 vowels. Chocolate shit. It's all related. Again, numerology. Old Testament is written in Hebrew. It has 22 alphabet. Hebrew does. New Testament written in Greek. Greek has 24 alphabet.
Right.
All of it is translated into English, which has how many?
27.
So when you 26.
26.
So you add those 3 together and you get 72.
72.
And what is 72? 9. And 72 is the every 72 years the sun moves 1 degree in that 360 degree orbit. You know what I'm saying? Really?
Right.
And you gonna tell me that this book, I need to put this book down? Are you kidding me?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's crazy.
Right.
So 360 times 72 is what? 25,920, which is the grand year. Please, you can't tell me that.
Right.
I ain't trying to hear that, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and 360 is what? 9. 25,920 is what? 9. Yeah. So how they have taken the woman and demonized her through these religious books. Not that the religious books were originally written for this purpose, but later on they were mistranslated and misused to demonize the woman. So when you start to study this information, you'll see that, for instance, we hear about the Adam and the Eve and that the man came, or that everybody came from Adam and then Eve came from Adam's rib, right? But that's not, of course we know that's not real, that's not literal, that is actually allegorical. And this is the beginning of how they started to demonize women.
Right.
Because they took away her right to give birth to everybody, they gave it to the man first. Now, when you're dealing with an atom, or atom, A-T-O-M, we know that when you split an atom, you remove an ion or electron from it and it splits. So the same way that Adam had a rib removed from him and he split and became 2. He doubled. So at first that was the man, the singular, and then they became the 2 with the woman. She became his even, right? Eve. See the word E-V-E? The first woman was called Eve, E-V-E. So they took away that right for her to give birth and they gave it to the man first. But as we know, again, when you go back to science, science will tell you when you remove that particular particle from an atom, it splits and it doubles. So that's what happened. So they made the doubling the bad part because God was considered 1. So when the woman came along, it became 2. And then she became associated with the number 2, which became the moon. The sun was first, night, because night is it's an illusion. It's really a shadow state.
Right.
Right? Now, the thing about it is, in your Bible, you have these deities, one of them called El Shaddai in Genesis 28:3. El Shaddai, they say it means the mighty, the Almighty. It's also found in the Quran in Surah 53:5.
Right.
But the root of the word El Shaddai is shad. Shad is, of course, a Hebrew word which means breast. What's the shadow? Shadow associated with Eve at night.
Right.
Shad,
Right.
breast, women, nighttime. You
Right.
follow what I'm saying?
Right.
So they use these word associations. They use this technology to associate everything darkness with women. That's why women got associated with the moon. So when you're dealing with the Bible, you're dealing with all of the men, or the majority of the men, their names end in El, E-L.
Mm-hmm.
That stands for the sun god.
Mm-hmm.
All of the women, their names end in A-H. Because in Egypt, you got a Egyptian moon god named Ah.
That's right.
Right?
Right.
So you got Rebecca, Delilah, Sarah, you know what I'm saying, Deborah, right? So
Right.
this is the whole game that they're playing. But anytime you see the Ah, in most cases, Ah preceding a consonant, you know what I mean? That's associated with women. Those are women names.
Mm-hmm.
Or an L is in most cases a masculine name.
Mm-hmm.
So the separation was there, and they used that against the woman again because everything associated with darkness and nighttime was indeed evil.
Mm-hmm.
When it really wasn't, it was just a shadow state, and now we know shadow is breast, and on and on and on. So they just played the game on the sisters that way, and it just stuck, and they don't realize that red is associated with men and blue is associated with women, and they just kind of play off of that all the time.
Right. Shad also means demon too, in one of those
Yes,
languages
but
too.
that's from a Hebrew
Chaldean.
perspective.
Okay.
But there's more than one way to look at the words. You got to realize there really isn't a such thing as Hebrew.
Right.
It's Phoenician,
Phoenician. Right.
from where we get the word phonetics.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or it's also the word, the color purple, because the Phoenicians were the people that dealt with the purple dye.
Right.
So what happens when you combine red and blue?
Purple.
Purple.
Right.
Games.
Right.
Seriously, games.
Right. Okay. When we get into it as far as the woman being the supreme being, we are pretty much knowledgeable of the chromosomes and how that proves the existence of the woman being here first. Can you explain a little bit about that?
If you're talking about when you're looking at the XY chromosome and how the XX has 25% more genetic material than a man, right? Well, that makes sense. But again, I'm a Cosmosian, so I'm dealing with the stars. Our son, right, was birthed from a larger sun called Sirius. So Sirius is at least 25% larger than our particular sun. So you're going to always have that dynamic. We wouldn't have our particular son called Jesus if we didn't have Sirius first. So everything that happens above happens below.
Right.
So if it happens in the stars, it's going to happen on this planet as well. You know what I'm saying? Just
Right.
like you can't, even if you pull a cell from your body and dropped it on the floor, you think it'd be separate from your body, but it's not separate from the planet. And then the planet is not separate from the solar system.
Right.
And the solar system, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You can't. You're
Right.
always going to be included in a concept of all things in existence.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. How do you view like what has happened to the black woman throughout history as far as European patriarchal order being placed on us, and how it truthfully crippled us as a
Okay.
people?
Again, being a Cosmosian, I'm dealing with larger concepts, and I'll try to come down to a smaller,
Right.
a microcosm,
Right.
a microcosm from a macrocosm.
Right.
A galactical year is 25,920 years, or some people say 24,000 years.
Right.
It is divided up into cycles. If you're dealing with the 25,920 year cycle, you're dealing with 2,160 year cycles, or 6,480 year cycles. So when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught that the pale man had a 6,000 year rule, he's dealing with the 6,480 year cycle.
Right.
Or if you divide it into 4 6,000 year cycles, dealing with a 24,000 year cycle.
Right.
But this is made up of 3 zodiac eras. Okay? So there's a sun era and a moon era. You know what I'm saying? If you however you divide it, either 6,000 years exactly or 6,480 years exactly. So we just ended in December 21st, 2012, the end of the moon cycle, which was ruled by the male, and we're coming into the feminine cycle, which is ruled by the women. So the reason why women were under the patriarchal order was because we were under that moon cycle, that last 6,000 year cycle that goes back. That's why when you talk to most religious scholars, they'll say that the Bible and the earth is only 6,000 years old. Well, if you divide 2,160 years into 6,480 years, that's 3 cycles. That's the last 3 zodiac signs of Pisces, Taurus, and Aries. Okay? And then, as Jesus said in Luke 22:10, we're going to go into the age of Aquarius. And Aquarius is a feminine cycle.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So that's why we're coming back into the feminine age. So when you look at, and you go back into, say, the story of Aquarius, right? Aquarius was initially a little Greek boy by the name of Ganymede. Ganymede was saw by Zeus, and Ganymede used to be like a little T-boy.
Okay.
Like an altar boy.
Okay.
And Zeus saw him, and Zeus liked him. You know what I mean? This, of course, this is not literal. This is allegorical.
Right.
He saw him, and he called him on up to heaven, and he made him his little sexual partner. Right? But the thing of it is after Ganymede got older, and you know, Zeus, what's the word? Honored him by making him Aquarius. So you're dealing with a homosexual type energy,
Right.
which is feminine.
Right.
So whether you want to look at it from the male, female, or you can look at it from the homosexual act that supposedly happened between Ganymede and Zeus,
Right.
it's still a feminine energy that is coming back on this. And the feminine energy is the better energy because it's more receptive, it's more cooperative, it's more a positive for the environment.
Right.
So that's why you're for one, you're seeing a lot more homosexuals coming in because this cycle came in around 1970. So that's why you're seeing an increase in the homosexual energy. You know, follow what I'm saying? But not only that, you're seeing because of the fact that we've passed that we started that 25,920 year cycle again. And it's starting off with the feminine cycle, then you know, masculine and feminine. So because females was first, so we're gonna always start out with a feminine cycle. Unless they try to change the order. So that's where it comes from.
Right. So do you think that that's what the disruption is on as far as like what they trying to do to the planet now, to extend their rule?
Yes, that's exactly what they're trying to do.
Right.
However, their rule is finished, it's up, and if you're just paying attention to what's happening in the world, you'll see how their rule is up.
Right.
You know what I mean? Funny things happen because the universe is letting you know that their rule is up.
Right.
Okay? When the Pope stepped down, right? You know that it happened in centuries.
Ever, yeah.
Right. Now, the thing about it is, when the Pope stepped down, he stepped down on exactly February 11th of 2013. Right, it was 2013.
I think it was 2000. Was it 2013?
Yeah, it was 13.
Yeah, okay.
It was 13. It was after we came into this cycle.
Okay.
Well, exactly 84 years prior to that was when Mussolini gave the Vatican the charter to become a sovereign state. Okay? Now, why do I say that? Because we're coming into Aquarius. Aquarius has a rotation that is exactly 84 years. Not Aquarius, I'm sorry, Uranus. Uranus is one of the ruling planets of Aquarius. Aquarius is ruled by 2 planets, Saturn and Aquarius. Saturn being the masculine energy and Uranus being the more feminine energy, from where they get the word heaven. Uranus is heaven. Right. So then he stepped down on exactly 84-year period because it coincides with the coming of the age of Aquarius and Uranus, which has a rotation of 84 years. You follow what I'm saying? So on the night that he stepped down, a lightning bolt hit the Vatican.
Wow.
So the universe tells us what's happening.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? All we got to do, as the old man taught us, is to get out of the way, stay in tune with nature, and you'll see the things happening.
Right.
So you see, if you follow the stars, if you follow nature, as our ancestors did, you'll see these things happening. All you got to do is just sit back and watch.
Right.
So yeah.
Right.